Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to the explainer. Picture this. You're just walking down the street, or maybe you're grabbing coffee at the office, and suddenly someone right in front of you collapses. It's a terrifying, high stakes moment, and your heart just naturally drops, right? But what if you had the power to literally save their life and, get this, with absolutely zero medical training? Well, today we are walking through a step-by-step guide on exactly how to use an AED, pulling straight from the experts at AED Professionals. So let's place ourselves right in the middle of that exact emergency. Someone just collapsed. What's your very first move? Well, before you even think about the machine, you've got to establish the basics. Check for responsiveness. Are they awake? Are they breathing? If the answer is no, you immediately call 911. Or better yet, point directly at someone else in the crowd and tell them, you call 911. Then send someone else to sprint and grab the nearest AED while you immediately begin CPR. Every single second matters here. Now, you might be wondering, why does getting that specific machine matter so much? Well, take a look at this. 2 to 3 times. That is the massive, game-changing impact of early defibrillation. When you combine standard CPR with an AED, you can literally double or even triple a person's chance of surviving sudden cardiac arrest. You aren't just buying them a little extra time, you are actively restarting their chances at life. Let's just take a quick breath here and kind of demystify our magic tool. What actually is an AED? It stands for Automated External Defibrillator. Now, I know defibrillator sounds incredibly intimidating, like a piece of complex medical jargon that belongs strictly in an ER, but I really want you to focus on that first word, automated. It's designed to do all the heavy medical lifting for you. And this brilliantly illustrates the entire philosophy behind the device. It's engineered so that anyone, trained or not, can use it in a cardiac emergency. Think about that for a second. It is specifically built to strip away all the intimidation factor. The absolute second you turn it on, the device actually starts talking to you, verbally guiding you through every single step of the whole process. So here is the complete roadmap directly from our source material. 6 clear, totally manageable steps. Turn it on, prepare the chest, attach the pads, let the machine analyze, deliver a shock if it tells you to, and then resume CPR. Now I know, it looks like a lot to remember when you're in a panic, but I promise you, the machine is going to hold your hand through this exact sequence. Let's break down what each of these steps actually looks like in practice. All right, step 1 is a no-brainer. Just turn the AED on. For some models, simply popping open the case powers it right up. For others, you just hit the big green power button. Immediately, that voice will start giving you instructions. Step 2 is prepping the chest. You need to expose the bare chest and make sure the skin is dry. Wipe away any sweat, peel off any medication patches, and hey, if the chest is really hairy, use the razor that's actually included in the AED kit to shave the spot. You want those pads to stick perfectly to the skin. So the absolutely crucial point here is step 3, attaching those pads. And guys, you do not need an anatomy degree for this. You literally just peel the electrode pads out of the package and look at them. Every single pad has a picture drawn right on it, showing exactly where it goes. Typically, you're placing one on the upper right chest and the other down on the lower left side. Press them firmly right onto that bare, dry skin so they fully adhere. Okay, once those pads are securely on, we move to the analysis and shock phases. That's steps 4 and 5. The machine's voice will announce that it's analyzing the heart rhythm. Now, this is absolutely critical. You must stop CPR and make sure nobody, including yourself, is touching the person. Stay totally clear. If the machine decides a shock is needed, it's going to tell you. Make sure everyone is still standing back, and then you press the flashing shock button. And just a quick side note, some fully automatic AEDs will actually deliver the shock themselves after giving you a warning. So again, just stay clear. Right after that shock is delivered, or, if the machine tells you no shock advised, boom, you move to step 6. Immediately resume chest compressions, get right back to CPR. The AED doesn't just clock out after one shock. It essentially acts as your partner. It'll continue to prompt you and will automatically reanalyze the person's heart rhythm every couple of minutes. You just keep following its voice and doing CPR until the paramedics arrive to take over or the person starts showing clear signs of life. Now, we need to introduce a really vital nuance here. What if the person who collapsed is a child? For children under about 8 years old or weighing less than 55 pounds, you actually need to lower the energy of the shock. You do this by using special pediatric pads, or maybe inserting a pediatric key, or just switching it to a pediatric setting if your specific device has one of those options. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the backup plan. What if you're in an absolute panic, there are no pediatric pads around, and those precious seconds are ticking by? The golden rule is never delay care. If you only have adult pads, use them on the child anyway. The most important thing is getting them that life-saving analysis. You just have to make absolutely sure the two adult pads do not touch or overlap each other on the child's smaller chest. You can even put one on the front and one on the back if you have to.
Okay, to prepare you for any environmental curveballs, there are a few vital safety rules you've got to keep in mind. We already talked about not touching the person during analysis or a shock, but take a quick look at the environment around you. Before shocking, you need to pull the person off of any metal surfaces and definitely drag them out of any standing water. Electricity combined with water or metal, yeah, dangerous combination. Oh, and from a maintenance side of things, whoever manages the building has to make sure the AED's pads and battery are actually in date. You want it ready to work when those seconds count.
Let's move to and see how this builds into our fear versus facts segment. Because look, when you're dealing with electricity and literally a life or death situation, it is completely normal to be terrified of messing up. So let's address the most common anxieties bystanders face. First big question, do you actually need professional training to use one of these? The definitive answer, no way. As we saw earlier, AEDs are specifically designed from the ground up for totally untrained bystanders. Those step-by-step voice prompts will carry you through the whole thing. Now, does taking a hands-on CPR and AED course build your speed and confidence? Oh, absolutely, and we highly recommend it. Practicing on a dummy is a brilliant idea for any workplace. But it is absolutely not a requirement to save a life. You are qualified to help right now. Which brings us to basically everyone's ultimate fear. The scenario that plays out in the minds of untrained rescuers everywhere. What if I hook this powerful machine up to someone who, I don't know, just fainted? Am I going to accidentally shock a perfectly healthy heart and end up hurting them? We can shut this fear down completely right now. The answer is an absolute no. Remember, the AED analyzes the heart rhythm. It is a highly sophisticated computer that does all the complex medical math for you. It will only enable that shock button to actually work if it detects a very specific shockable rhythm from the heart. Honestly, you couldn't shock someone who doesn't need it even if you tried. The machine simply will not let you do it. So here we are. You know the steps. You know how to turn it on, prep the chest, place those pads, and just listen to the voice. You know the machine will protect you from making a medical mistake. Literally, the only thing left is action. Because in a sudden cardiac emergency, time is the one thing you definitely don't have. So I'll leave you with this. When seconds count and someone's life is entirely in your hands, are you ready to follow the prompts and save a life? I think you are. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.